Hello everyone, this is my week 6 video, and this week we cover um, postmodernism as the main topic. Um, just like I said on one of my posts, after reading everything and watching videos and everything, um, the only thing that's in my mind is I know that I know nothing. It's pretty confusing. I think some of my classmates gave pretty good descriptions of um, what is postmodernism to them. Um, I think one of the best definitions was that it is just, us questioning, what is truth and what is not. Um, the beliefs that we have on certain things, is that for real? What I've believed all these years, is it real? Is it not? It's just the fact of questioning everything that we have known, um, the way it exists or the way we believe it exists. So it is a little bit complicated. I went ahead and I dissected the word post, meaning after, and modernism, meaning what is, current, modern. And if modern or modernism is what's happening now, then when does postmodernism happens? If it's gonna happen after, yet we are leaving modernism as of right now. So it is kind of like a little bit um, difficult, controversial word that has many meanings. Anyways, another thing that we discussed this week was um, self um, self identity, and what is it that is influencing our teenagers and kids these days, um, as far as building, their character and have an image. Um, I have a 13-year-old daughter and a 7-year-old boy, and I can tell you that what's influencing them is totally different one from the other. Um, I know my girl is more like the looks, and being able to wear what the other girls are wearing at school, or I know she's very influenced by teen magazines and what she sees on TV, or we go shopping and she has certain stores that she likes to shop at because that's what her friends do. um, Now on the other hand, my boy, he is being influenced a lot by sports and sports athletes, so he wants to wear what they are wearing because to him, if he wears certain clothes or certain shoes, that is going to influence his performance. That's going to make him, be a better athlete. So it's not much as far as, how he wants to look, but he wants to be like the athletes. So anyways, I thought that was pretty cool to see, the two sides, so the boy and the girl. We also talked a little bit about simulacrum, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right. Um, it's the word on itself just means, similar. So with the readings from the book and everything, there's an example of how um, the author is talking about Disneyland and what it represents to Americans. It is said basically that most of the people enjoy going to Disneyland and living a fantasy that, even though we know is not real, once we are living it, then it becomes real. So the simulacrum is it real or is it not real? We're making it real as we act it out, yet we know that it's a fantasy. So going back to contradictions, there's one right there. Um, a lot of my classmates also mentioned that we as an adult like to go to Disney and maybe unleash the inner child that we all have inside, and I totally agree with that. I know Disney has made a successful, business and selling out this, images of uh, characters, that we as consumers start using since we are babies. We're introduced to the little Minnie and Mickey Mouse. We are introduced to those characters at a very young age, and we grow up with them. So once we have our kids, we introduce them to the same characters, and so it's a cycle. And there's a continuation. And as long as these theme parks and the movies and all of these exist, they are going to be part of our lives. And to some of us, it is true. It's kind of like an escape, that we have from what we see as reality, our day to day, things that we do. And then we go to Disney or we sit down to watch a movie. um, it's kind of like escaping from the real reality and embarking ourselves into these fantasies that makes us feel like we were kids again. And anything that brings these kind of nice memories, we like it. It's our escape from the reality that we live. We also, another thing that we wanted to discuss is the video that was our first for this week, with Mr. Carter, and also called The Hurricane. I haven't seen this movie yet. I've seen previews of it, and I I think I had a totally wrong impression from the previews that I've seen before. I watched the video, and then I did a little bit of research, and my first impression was that it was just about a boxer. But once I read, stuff on what happened to Mr. Carter, it immediately brought to my mind the movie The Shawshank Redemption, which is also about somebody that's being wrongfully accused of a murder. The endings are very different, but in the case of Mr. Carter, I think it was a person that unfortunately didn't have an easy life, and all these, being wrongfully accused, he was, at the wrong place at the wrong time. He could have been, he was after being interrogated for the first time and all of that, he was released. And if it wouldn't have been for those witnesses that gave a false testimony, he would have never been incarcerated. Now, after he was free from prison after those 19 years, I'm sorry to say, but he didn't live a very good life, because he kept being involved in all of these, not good events that I think gave people, an impression of who he really was. I mean, I hate to say this, he spent 19 years of his life in prison, and he shouldn't have. But bottom line is, I think you don't escape destiny, and Mr. Carter didn't have it very good after he came out of prison. I remember the case of a man that was in death row many years, probably over 10 years in Texas, and he was a Mexican native. well, he had a group of lawyers that were, trying to, free him, and because they thought that he was being wrongfully accused also. They did the job and everything, and they finally proved that he had been wrongfully accused. Well, he was not executed, he was left free. He went back to Mexico, and not 3 months had passed since he had been freed. He was on the road going from one city to another, and he died in a crash accident. Um, it's just destiny, and you can't escape destiny. I know Mr. Carter lived, several years after he was freed, and hopefully his story, will uh, bring out good things for the people that are in his situation. Um, um, that's the only thing I have to say. I know he did a lot of work trying to help other people that were in the same situation. He was in the board of some kind of organization that was their main goal, to help out people that were wrongfully accused and in prison. So if something good comes out of things like this, is good. I have to watch the movie to see if it's very close to reality. But we'll see what happens. I think that's all I have for this week. Have a nice rest of the week and the weekend, and we'll see you next week.